All right, we're going to get started with the evening's programming. First of all, I want to introduce myself to those that may not know me. My name is Neil Mullen. I'm the current GCAA of SAE alumni president. I've been in this position since 2018. It's been an honor to be here every single year. Every single year we've drummed up more and more attendance, more and more RSVPs. We've come a long way from advancing our listserv, from just ad hoc emails sent every so often to now having an alumni newsletter that goes out from the desk and Nippert. If you didn't receive an invite to this tonight, that means that you're not signed up for that. We'll talk more about that later. But anyway, I do want to touch on all of you that are here, especially the alumni. This is the most alumni RSVPs we have had in my time as GCAA president. And touching a little bit more on those alumni that have RSVP'd and the ones that walked in the door, hey, we love you the same. RSVP next year, we can plan for you better, but we'll give you some crap about that later. But anyway, there are a few that we want to touch on here tonight. Obviously, we have the 50-year alumni here at the center table. Thank you guys for coming all across America to be here tonight. We have DeVotie here, we have GCAA representatives here, we have many other esteemed alumni. I couldn't even do it justice, so who can do it justice better than Tom Walter? I'm going to have him come up and talk a little bit about the alumni that are here
tonight. Welcome, everyone. It's incredible turnout. Jacko, you did a great job putting that's herding cats, that group, man. You did a great job. Thank you, Phi Alpha. Got some really distinguished alums with us. First of all, I got to start out with my little brother, Brad Winster, congressman from this district. Brad's got some very important work going on these days. He's on the Ways and Means Committee. He's on the Intelligence Committee, and he's actually the ranking member of the Intelligence Committee and is the head of the Defense Intel Warfighter Support Group. If I didn't slaughter that, Brad. And most importantly, probably, he is the chairman of the Select Committee on the investigation of COVID and the origins of COVID. So, Brad, we wish you well in your efforts. And I could not be more proud of you as my little brother. Bless you. And then we got the Baron, Billy Seitz. He's been... Bill, you've been term limited out of the House, in the Senate, and back in the House and back in the Senate since 2004, I believe?
2001.
2001, okay. The internet didn't go back that far. But anyway, you are the House Majority Floor Chairman? Leader. And if you guys want to see some legendary stuff, just Google Bill Seitz. There's some very entertaining things, and Bill looks out for every one of us in this room. You do a great job, Bill, and thanks for your career.
Baron.
Mr. Baron. And then there are three gentlemen that I want to point out back here that came from Maple Knoll. The oldest of the group is Bob Suddendorf. He's 95. Bob? 6. Bob pledged in 1946. He's been around this house for a little while, and thank you very much for making the effort to come out, Bob. Second is Dean Godden. Dean's been on the DeVotie Hall for many, many years. And he He was in school with David Lance and Longstreet in that era in the 50s, initiated in 1952. Thanks, Dean. And the final one, Tom Wagner. Tom was initiated in 57, and we really appreciate you coming back, Tom. Thanks very much. So look forward to the introduction of all the guys from the 50-year class. You're all great guys. You were the old guys when I was a pledge, so love to see you. Phi Alpha.
Thanks, Tom. I appreciate you calling out some very esteemed alumni. We have many more that you'll hear from tonight. Coming up on the podium, talking about their stories, giving out some awards. But without further ado, we do want to go and start the evening off with some awards in recognition of our 50-year initiate alumni that are here today. I'm going to go down the list, but these are 1973 initiates. Pretty incredible feat. This is the largest turnout I think we've had for a 50-year class in quite some time. So thank you all for being here. Jack, thank you so much for drumming up attendance and rallying the troops, as Tom said. All right, first up, my uncle, John Walter. Next up, that's later. Next up, Rick Navarro. You want to pose for the okay. We'll get him. All right, next up, George Kupchak. Dan O'Donnell. John Middleberg. I don't know if this guy's here. Brent Hall. Mike Jump. Kent Cadle. John Ruhlman. Jack Johnson. All right, congratulations to our 50 years. Thank you all for coming. All right, we're going to keep going into the programming here. If everyone can settle down a sec. All right, so first up in our program, if you guys are curious as to where the night is going, all the programs were essentially placemats for each of you. So take a look. You can see where we're at. We got a packed agenda for the evening. Exciting things to talk about and share with you from our alumni, from the DeVotie Hall Association, as well as our undergraduate eminent archon, and then some esteemed special guests and keynote speakers. So starting out the rest of the program is me. I'm Neil Mullen, GCAA president, as I already told you all, but I'm here to give you a state of the GCAA. So there's been some very fun things that we've done in the past few years that have now become annual events. Every March, we have Founders Day. You guys are here right now. This is our first big kickoff to the entire year. We'll do a young alumni happy hour in April every single year. Typically, that's over on Short Vine. We have a decent turnout of graduating seniors, welcoming them to the alumni world, to the GCAA. This year, there may be a change. Maybe we're going to the Red Stadium. There's some exciting things there we're working with the undergrads on. We'll do the golf tournament, the Lucy Patty Memorial Golf Tournament. I give a quick shout out. Ryan Higgins, can you stand up real quick? Ryan Higgins, he is the chair, the president, whatever you want to call him, the man of the hour when it comes to this golf tournament. He is the one that made this happen a few years back. We're excited to bring it back every single year. He's put a lot of time and effort to making this year better than it's ever been. June 24th, mark your calendars. I think Ryan has a quick announcement.
Yeah, like Neil said, Saturday, June 24th at 8 a.m., we're going to tee off. It'll be a shotgun start again. Last year we had 80 people, so 80 brothers. This year we'd love to have 100. So if you have your phones on you, you can either text my number 513-476-8001, and I'll send you the link right now. Or you can check the volume 8 of our Different update that we our alumni update that we set up.
What's that number again?
513
476
8001.
8001. Text it now. First one to sign up right now wins a bow tie.
Yes.
This bow tie. If you text him right now and sign up, you will win it. Ryan will tell me who did it, and I will give this to you later. All right, so that's typically our third event of the year. We also do a fall picnic every single year. A lot of the undergrads I was talking to earlier today, they told me they met me, and a lot of these alumni that are here tonight back in the fall over at the Phelps, and that had a huge impact on their lives, meeting fellow alumni, talking about what they're interested in, their undergraduate path, as well as hearing about our paths, what led us to the alumni side, and our success currently in our careers, some stories in this very room they were interested in too, but good to see their faces again too. If you could attend that, that's every single fall, typically September, October. And then finally, we wrap up the year with homecoming. We've set some dates out there from the desk in Nippert. We're doing the same events this coming year. Talked about the big next event and the golf outing for all the alumni here. Would love to see every single one of you there. Even if you don't golf, we have other roles and other ways to get involved with that day. We need cart girls, so yeah. So I'm going to wrap up my speech with a couple things, reflecting on a letter that was sent by 94-year-old alumnus Richard Myers. The undergrads received this letter a month ago. This was Richard Myers, who's a 1947 initiate. Some of the members in the room might be familiar with him or remember him. He lives over in California. He wrote this letter to the undergrads reflecting on his time. Members and pledges, hi, good brothers of Ohio Epsilon. In June, I reached my 94th birthday, and I'm wondering whether we still have pledges or initiates that are still around, and still have our names painted on the wall in the chapter room at 2707 Clifton Avenue. Also wondering what's going on. Are you still inviting sororities to dinners and a skit? I don't know. Undergrads, you're going to have to tell them if you still do the skit part of dinner. Please forgive my typing this in the Air Force while waiting for my aviation cadet class assignment. I was put in radio op school, had to hand print at a high speed. It ruined my cursive handwriting, so I typed. I came to UC from Walnut Hills High in class of 46. In my UC co-op status, I did 3 times per year, each trimester. Half of the year I studied, other half I was working for a job to graduate debt-free. In the summer of 1946, I taught swimming and handicrafts at the YMCA camp in Mentor, Kentucky. There were 2 other swimming instructors, both SAEs, several years older than me. They had been World War II Marines in the Pacific. 2 really good guys, Bill Fay and Pat Mullen. They told me about SAE and convinced me that this was for me. These 2 members, Bill and Pat, would influence my life. Told me of SAE fraternity standards, a bit of its history, Lucy Patty, the loss of Noble Leslie DeVotie, and the work of Revere, etc. Rush was great fun. When I was invited, I pledged, and I recall our desperate study of the pledge manual, the Phoenix. Our class project, we repainted the long front-to-back hallway. We added a shoulder height stripe to the wall. I still remember our houseman, Henry Nellums, upperclassmen like Brewster Sanders, EA at the time, and John O'Connor, our next EA, plus Sid Carson and others. At this time, Judge Louise Nippert dropped in occasionally just to chat and look around the house. His son, James Gamble, was long before my time at 2707. When the Korean War erupted in 1950, I jumped from school, finished education later, into the USAF and applied for cadet training. Flew my combat missions as a jet night fighter navigator in an F-94B Starfire jet night fighter from Forward Fighter Airstrip K-13 in Korea. The world's first jet versus jet fighting. Lost a lot of friends there, a very sobering experience, and consider each day a gift. Cheers, guys. Phi Alpha. I want to wrap up my time up on the podium with a quick honor to the brothers that have passed since last year. I want to take a moment of silence remembering each of them. I'm going to call them out here. Howard Frazier, 1949 initiate. Richard Fullerton, 1945 initiate. Albert Huber, Jr., 1950. Wesley Lampy, 1957. Herbert Mode, Jr., 1960. Edgar Scholmeyer, 1956. James Sunderland, 1949. Donald Wessel, 1950. Neil Austin, 1964. Hugh Bodie, 1951. John Ebinger, 1958. Dr. Robert Hayner, 1952. Daniel E. Lewis, 1956. Tom McCormick, 1955. And David E. Taylor, 1957. May rest in peace, our fellow Ohio E. alum.
We had a brother that passed, Robert Tom from our group. And it was just recently here, so I don't know if maybe we should mention Tom.
I'll add him to my list. I got these from the record, so a little outdated. Thank you. Wolfman. R.I.P. Wolfman. With that, wrapping up my speech here, we have me as the president. We have another guy, Rob Rankin. He couldn't make it tonight. He's the treasurer. We're kind of a two-man show with Ryan Higgins helping on the golf side. We're very open to any help. We would love some help as we continue to push for 2024. We're going to touch on that more in a moment. We have a big 100-year anniversary of this house, the James Gamble Nippert Memorial Lodge, coming next September. Really excited about that, but would love to, I've been in this role since 2018. I wouldn't mind handing this off in the future to somebody who's willing to get involved, has a passion. SAE's changed my life, my career. I married a Kappa that I met in the front yard of SAE. You heard me mention Uncle John Walter, Tom Walter. These are my uncles through marriage. SAE is life to me, personal, work. I work with a bunch of SAEs, a bunch of UC alum. It really can change your life, what you do here and the people that you meet and the relationships you build. Cannot stress it enough to shake the hand of those guys you don't know in this room throughout the night. It's easy when there's plenty of beers available, but take advantage of these moments because you never know where it's going to lead. With that said, I'm going to wrap up my speech here and hand it over to Chad Berg, the undergraduate eminent archon. Chad, bring it on up.
Alrighty, hello everyone and welcome to Founders Day 2023. I want to personally thank each and every one of you for being here to celebrate such a special night. My name is Chad Berg, as Neil said, and I am the current eminent archon here at Ohio Epsilon. To give some background on myself, I'm a second-year student from Toledo, Ohio, studying operations management with a minor in finance and professional sales. Before I get started, I'd like to say some thank yous to those of you in the crowd. First, I want to thank our alumni, especially those that sit on DeVotie Hall, who ensure this place is operating at its highest level. Nick, you and your team are a first-class resource to me and to the rest of the chapter. All of you who sit on DeVotie have shared a tremendous amount of knowledge and passion with my exec team that has driven us to make this place the best it can be. I would also like to give a huge thank you to Neil Mullen for putting on this fine event and all of the other wonderful alumni events that he puts on for this chapter. I would also like to thank all of the EAs that have come before me sitting in the crowd right now. Specifically, I would like to thank Nick Albers, Nick Rizzo, and Zach Biersdorfer, who have all set an example that I strive to live up for as EA. The bond that I share with those three gentlemen are unbreakable and something that I'll cherish forever. Lastly, I would like the following men to stand up to get some recognition. First, Matt Santiago, eminent treasurer. Edwin Nemo, eminent recorder. Abraham Hayes, who cannot be here right now for family matters, but I would like Finn Davern to stand up, please, our community service chair. Andrew Bartholomew and Jake Mingus for throwing on the fun social events as our social chair. Andrew Sherlock, Luke Hastings, and Sam Schaefer are housing managers. Baylor Rao and Drew Smith are mental health and safety chairs. Benjamin Fowles, scholarship and academic chair. Colin Moore, our internal vice president. Gabe Hunt, who is our new member educator and also our co-chair with Jack Rizzo with our Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Council. Jesper Moden, our IFC delegate. Maxwell Roberto Bailey and Nick Schulte as our awesome recruitment chairs. Noah Hudepool, our vice president of conduct. I don't know if he's here. I don't see him. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. He's out bartending. And then Scott Schumann and Thomas Ogen, our Brotherhood chairs. And lastly, Trey Hennon, our external vice president. The following men are members of my exec team. These are top-class men and have brought fire into this place and continue to amaze me day in and day out. Thank you, boys, for making me look good. It is an honor to be standing in front of you all tonight leading this great chapter. I never anticipated becoming EA or even rushing a fraternity. My freshman roommate and best friend, Max McCready, got me to come to a rush event, and I instantly knew Ohio Epsilon was my home. Not being from Cincinnati, this place has truly become my second home. These last 2 years have been the best 2 years of my life. This place has given me the opportunity to meet guys who will be standing in my wedding someday. It has provided me ways to help the community of Cincinnati. It has provided the structure to achieve academic excellence and grow as a leader as well. Some of you may have noticed that these four things are the pillars that this place was built upon, and it has amazed me of what this place has given me and all the things that it's continuing to give to all of our members. So now I would like to give some statistics of where the chapter is going, where this chapter has been in the last year. In the fall, we initiated 34 members. Just a few weeks ago, we initiated 18 more members. We are now getting young men from all over the state and now even the country. And we are totaled at 145 active members right now. We collectively hold 16 leadership positions in other organizations across campus, included but not limited to Colin Moore, who is a senator for the Student Advisory Committee for the university budget and an analyst for Queen City Consulting, Finn Davrin, who was recently named the president of the club water polo team here for UC, and Matt Santiago, who is the Cleanup of Cincinnati's Director of Professional Relations and the Linder Student Inclusions and Actions Committee Treasurer. We have 4 members on student council. We have 15 brothers in honorary organizations such as Sigma Sigma, Mena Metro, and Phi Rho Chi. Currently 32 men who are on co-op or will be on co-op over this summer. And these include in cities of Telluride, Charlotte, and Atlanta. We have boosted the number of guys holding co-ops and internships due to our efforts in giving early career opportunities. This includes holding events to invite companies such as Division's Maintenance Group and Fisher Homes to come into the house and hold recruiting events. Lastly, I don't know if you guys have heard about the Kappa Kappa Gamma house, but over Christmas break, the pipes busted, leaving their house destroyed. When I was made aware of this, we moved guys all around the house to clear the 3rd floor and invited 9 of their members in with open arms. This has been awesome for our chapter and has been a great deal of fun. We have gone on bar crawls through Clifton for the ladies' birthdays and have shared a lot of quality time with them. And I don't know if some of the active guys in here will admit to it, but I walked in the alumni room about 3 weeks ago, and there has been a Bachelor Monday tradition that started where 20 guys were drinking wine with all the girls, which I found quite interesting. In terms of academics, in the fall, we had 7 brothers earn a 4.0 GPA. We have also had 49 brothers make the Dean's List. We've had 8 brothers who are in the Business Honors Program or taking honors classes. As far as brotherhood goes, in the fall, we had the opportunity to take a brotherhood retreat to Morgan's Campground, just across the border in Indiana, where we camped for 2 days. Brotherhood chairs Scotty Schumann and Tom Ogen are absolutely stoked for the 150-pound hog roast that will be happening at the house this spring. Brother Noah Hudipole has organized a brother golf outing at Avon that 50 or so members will be participating in on April 9th. As far as the house goes, this past Sunday we hosted a yard day where brothers worked around the house to clean the grounds up. When the weather turns, Brother Noah Habig will be mulching the house along with all the other brothers. Noah owns and runs a highly successful landscaping company and is eager to help with all the mulch and other landscaping needs. Our Lady Our cleaning lady, Blanca, along with the awesome the house managers, Duty Sherlock, Luke Hastings, and Sam Schaefer, have our house looking better than ever. I also want to give a shout out to the man, Kevin Johnson, sitting right in front of me, who can quite... KJ can quite literally fix anything. KJ, you're the biggest asset to this house and to our chapter, and I just want you to realize that your work does not go unnoticed. During the fall and spring, we have hosted events to raise money for different organizations. For example, last week we hosted a walking taco event where we raised hundreds of dollars. Brother Matt Santiago led a service event to help the relief for those in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Fiona. Over 300 students donating, totaling in over 1,200 donations. We are also approaching our biggest community service event that has been done in a long time. We are hosting a Be the Match event at the Linder Center, which is an organization that allows sick patients to receive blood and bone marrow transplants. They swab the cheek of participants, and the swab of the cheek can determine your blood type and your bone marrow type. The participants' blood and bone marrow type go into a database which is shared with patients who are sick. If it is a match with the patient, the participant will be asked to donate blood or bone marrow to the patient at a local clinic. Chloe Cunningham of Pi-Phi is helping me head this event because her mom's fight against cancer hit a total 180 from a Be the Match donation, and she is now in remission. I know some alumni in this room have been personally touched by this organization, and it is an awesome opportunity to get all of the other Greek organizations and students involved in this. It is going to be on March 7th, this coming Tuesday at 7:30 in the Linder Center, room 450. So I encourage all of you who are local to come and participate. Some other facts, we had our brother Jack McGinnis, who had a successful rugby season where he was named All-Conference. Gabe Hunt, Nick Schulte, Max Roberto Bailey, and I attended the Executive Academy in Atlanta over Christmas break, which was a once-in-a-lifetime experience meeting EAs and other exec people from all across the country. Brothers will be attending the anniversary convention over the summer. Also, plenty brothers will be spending spring break together in Fort Lauderdale, Destin, and Cancun. Chapter will be heading to Chicago for formal this year, March 31st through April 2nd. This is our biggest turnout of formal in the last 4 or 5 years. We will also be inviting all the parents of brothers down to the house for Mom Prom and Dad's Day on April 7th and 8th. We will also have a Patty Murphy week, which is filled with philanthropy and a concert in the back lot to send our senior brothers off into the sunset. Now time for some awards to recognize one guy from active chapter and one alumni who have shown what it is to be a true gentleman and an absolute brother hero. The first award is the Mitch Stone Award. Mitch Stone was a UC graduate in 2020 and was initiated into Ohio E in 2017. We sadly lost Mitch in the January of 2021. He was able to be an active part of the 2009 undefeated UC football team when they adopted him as their honorary member after he was diagnosed with brain cancer. After beating cancer, Mitch lived for 11 more great years. Although I never met Mitch, the culture he instilled in this chapter is still felt today. We continuously honor the amazing life of Mitch and the impact he had on Ohio Epsilon and UC's campus. You can find his memorial hanging in the walls of the alumni room. And at our very first tailgate of every year, we walk as a group across Clifton Avenue to Nippert Stadium for the Bearcats game. We now refer to this as the Mitchie. Mitch's story and legacy will continue to inspire those that walk through these doors and on UC campus. I'm honored to present Zach Biersdorfer with the Mitch Stone Award. Congratulations. We'd also like to present the Young Alumnus Award to a man who has constantly been a brother hero as an SAE alumnus, as well as an outstanding member of the Cincinnati community. This brother was a very accomplished undergraduate, being involved in Sigma Sigma, Meta Metro, Order of Omega, and Phi Rho Chi. His involvement with SAE has not stopped since he graduated. You can count on him being at every homecoming, Lucy Patty, golf outing, and Founders Day. Most recently, this brother has been working with the GCAA and DeVotie on the 100th year anniversary. We appreciate his dedication to this fraternity, alumni group, and the undergraduates, and look forward to his continued involvement going forward. It is an honor to present the 2023 Ohio Young Alumnus Award to Brother Aaron Ponsler. Congratulations. Ultimately, Ohio Epsilon has been busier in the past year than the last 3 years. The pandemic is officially behind us, and we are rolling on all cylinders. As I have told Chapter and DeVotie, the pandemic is no longer an excuse for not operating at the highest level. Everyone has taken this to heart, and we have had the best year since I've joined Ohio Epsilon. SAE was punched in the mouth by the 2-year pandemic, but as always, we came back punching 10 times harder. We are operating at the highest level, and that is never going to change. We have 145 active brothers in Chapter and all of the wonderful alumni that can take this place to the moon. The sky is the limit for this chapter. As Kobe said, job's not finished, but God damn it, we're heading in the right direction. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Phi Alpha.
Thank you, Chad. Appreciate that. We're going to keep going with our program tonight. I'd like to welcome up to the stage President of the DeVotie Hall Alumni Association, Nick Trelka.
Evening, brothers. Happy Founders Day. Welcome back home to the James Gamble Nippert Memorial Lodge. I want to start out tonight by recognizing the brothers that have donated to the house, to our legacy, and to our capital campaign. So if you've donated $2,024 since 2005, please stand up. There's more than one. If you've donated anything at all, please stand up. I want to applaud you. Thank you. Because of your commitment and your dedication and your gift to Ohio Epsilon, we can continue. We've been able to build this beautiful addition and been able to be a home to 40, 50 brothers every year. And now I'd like to hand out some mugs. So the bestowing of the mugs, these beautiful Rookwood Jimmy Nippert mugs are given to any brother who has given $2,024 or more to SAE through the Ohio Epsilon Chapter Allocation Fund for the fundraiser. First up, John Middleberg. How about Ohio State Rep and Majority Floor Leader Bill Seitz? How about your loyal Master of Ceremonies and President of the GCAA, Neil Mullen. Is Kenny Franks here tonight? He RSVP'd. Kenny Franks gets a mug. Kent Cadle gets a mug. Kent, come on up. How about past eminent supreme archon Richard Hopple? Come on up. The last two mugs go to two special brothers that we've already met tonight, Tom Wagner and Bob Sundorf. You can come up and get your mugs. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, one and all. So, for those of you, this is being recorded tonight, and it'll be edited and sent back out to brothers all over the realm. So I'm speaking to you tonight, but I also want to speak to everybody that's going to get this after we edit all the beer cracks out and all the jokes, and just have the good stuff. If you haven't been back to campus in a while, the streets at Clifton Heights remain in place, but a lot of the buildings continue to move. If you look at aerial pictures, old aerial pictures from Clifton Heights, the only two buildings that you see, the remaining structures that you would recognize, would be the James Gamble Nippert Memorial Lodge and Van Wormer Library, and maybe Hughes High School. The current phase of Clifton Heights that we're in started more than 20 years ago with the development of the Greek Village, which is now owned by UC and just called Stratford Heights. The Betas, the Pikes, the ATOs, a lot of houses right now are currently in a fundraising phase, trying to maintain relevancy and meet occupancy needs. I'm grateful that we had the foresight to do what we did back when we did it, and we were able to help out the Kappas with their predicament, and it was a win-win situation and a good Greek neighborly thing. Sigma Chi is currently doing a total gut job of their house, and that'll be finished probably in the next school year. But from our view, opposite McMicken Hall, it's not crazy to think that some out-of-town developer wants our property right now. It's a fact that UC wants our property. DeVotie Hall Association is trusted and committed to make sure that this property remains the home of Sigma Alpha Epsilon at the University of Cincinnati. We can only do that from a strong financial footing and a strong chapter. And with Chad, his exec, and this whole room of true gentlemen in chapter right now, I know that we'll strive for the latter. But all the alumni here tonight and all the alumni that are going to hear this message for Founders Day needs to ensure the former. So let me go through a little bit of numbers here. Right after the Greek Village was completed in 2005, our initial campaign to add on to the lodge and the West Wing began. So from 2005 to 2010, I'm going to add rough numbers here. It was a $5 million project to do all the addition. We raised about $3 million. We took out a mortgage for the remaining $2 million. The balance of that mortgage is now at $678,000. We pay it every month to the tune of $9,000 to $10,000. The balance in the allocation fund that all of these mug donors and all of you that donated to Sigma Alpha Epsilon is at $401,000. The balance of the mortgage in September of 2024, when this structure, the original structure, turns 100 years old, is $551,000. And the last number, our current tax bill, is $30,000. We have a nice abatement secured by DeVotie leadership from the past, Tom and Mike, and that expires in 2025. It may double or more. We don't know yet. So it's no coincidence that the campaign to retire the mortgage ends the same year that the James Gamble Nippert Memorial Lodge celebrates its centennial birthday. Not only that, a lot of the things that we've added that were new in 2010 will be 15 years old and will need to be repaired, replaced, or re-envisioned. In the next year, you will see a lot of exterior components of our beloved lodge updated. Windows, exterior paint, doors. After that, we'll start on the inside. In the final 6 months leading up to September, carpets, paint, light fixtures, the living areas, the living quarters of the brothers, and the common areas. While we attack the debt and maintain our property, anything that we raise above and beyond our goal will be placed directly into the house for the brothers as we approach 2024. So let's think about that, guys. We're in the red zone. If we're talking Jimmy Nippert football terms, 5 more yards to go, then drop. We've got $100,000 for our $500,000 goal. We've got that mortgage to pay off. We've got some projects to make this place shine. As much as we'd like the judge to come back and just be proud of what this place is 100 years after it opened. If 50 brothers tonight gave $2,024, we'd reach our goal. If every brother who lived here since 2010 gave $50, we'd be at our goal. If you've been waiting to hear how the campaign's going, now is your time to pitch in. If you're waiting for a direct ask, I'm asking you now. Please give today to the chapter allocation fund for Ohio Epsilon. Something, anything, everyone. We've accomplished so much in 133 years. Let's get this done and rise from the ashes of a burned mortgage to new strength and new heights for Ohio Epsilon. And we will do it. We'll complete our renovations. We'll have a blowout historic party to celebrate all of us, all those who came before us, and all those who will come after us. We just have to commit to ensuring the legacy. You see, legacy is just a long line of connected lives. Undergraduate brothers, you have the priceless gift of a membership in Sigma Alpha Epsilon. The bonds you build while you're here at UC will be so strong, it will feel crystallized by the time you leave. But SAE is for life. The bond of brotherhood that goes from Matthew Stone, who I met tonight, to me. Pick a good one. To me, to Todd Degarmo, to Bob Sundorf, to the judge, to Joseph B. Strauss, to Noble Leslie DeVotie. We are Ohio Epsilon of Sigma Alpha Epsilon. Our members hold elected offices, run companies, started companies, designed buildings, and yet we come back here to dwell in pleasant unity for one great evening every year. To the undergrads, one day you will do great things. You'll raise families, run companies, build communities, and on the first Friday in March, you'll come back here to where you learned it first and you learned it best. Winston Churchill once said, "We shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us." I end in gratitude for our beloved order, gratitude for this building shaped by our brothers of the past, for your campaign support, and gratitude for each of us being shaped by our time here at Sigma Alpha Epsilon at UC. Phi Alpha. Thank you. But before I sit down, I just want to thank Neil for a minute. Neil Mullen mentioned that he's been president since 2018, and his energy and his leadership, he's done a lot of heavy lifting, but he's also inspired others to help. Neil's personal style is what I would call tight but loose. He gets us through the program, he gets us feeling good, and he keeps us coming back. And because of his dedication to the GCAA and the Sigma Alpha Epsilon, I want to present to him the Order of the Lion. Neil?
Wow, this is not an acceptance speech. I'm still your MC, but thank you. I appreciate that. I was not expecting that. Thank you, Nick. Thanks to everybody for being here year after year. It's truly been rewarding. I get excited for this time every single year. Yeah, that's great. Wow. All right, well, wrapping up the program, we have a couple more things, and then we got a lot of things that we got to take care of in that trough after this. I hear somebody just went on a run. I think we're restocked. So if you were worried we were going to run out, we're good. Can be here all night. So finishing up the evening, second last event of the night, I want to introduce a special keynote speaker, Brother Chris Carper, class of initiated in 1987. Chris is going to discuss his life experience, his path to success, his high achievements that he's seen in his life, his time that he started here as an SA undergrad to today. A nice perspective on life, especially for all the undergrads here. Chris, welcome on stage. You might need to hold both because one is like a hello, does this thing work?
You're gonna have to hold both.
This thing,
You can go as far as that'll reach.
That's fine. I don't want to be behind the podium
But you
because
need
I'm
this-
short.
You need this too.
I need this too?
That's connected to the camera.
Oh, all right. I get to use two mics. This is pretty cool. Who would have thought, right? Technology. No, thanks for that. I want to say a few things before I get started. Congrats to the 50 years. That's truly an honor. I'm in awe. I know a handful of you just through my undergrad years. You probably don't remember me, but I was EA at one time, and some of you folks were involved in DeVotie. I also see some of the other DeVotie members, both current and past. Brad Winstrup, Rico, Mike was here, obviously, Tom Walter. Bob, I think you were even here when I was an undergrad as DeVotie. So I want to say thank you to the DeVotie Hall Association. DeVotie Hall, does so much for this place. You see the four walls, you see the windows, you see all that, but it's truly an honor to have these folks representing the men of SAE and having the support in this place. Bill Seitz, thank you for the work you did to help us build the new addition right next door. I mean, all of that stuff is truly, truly amazing work, and you should be commended for that. Also want to thank the active chapter. You don't realize this, but this is one of the best times of your life. A lot of stuff happens here. A lot of stuff that you don't realize, and I'll talk a little bit about that here in a second as part of my journey. And I also just want to say thank you to the Alumni Association. Nick, team, you're doing a great job. For me, I've lived pretty much in different places throughout my career, mostly in Seattle with Microsoft to here, and I always had a view of what was happening in the house. So it's the Alumni Association who's behind the scenes, making everything work, and really trying to get the message out about what's happening here at SAE. So thank you for that. So a little bit about myself. I said when Nick asked me if I would come keynote, I'm like, keynote? How much time do I have? He goes, 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's a good sized keynote. I can deal with that. But I said the bar is really low. Like, why me? Like, I'm low on the pole. I mean, you have congressmen here, you have lawyers here, you have statesmen here. why me? I asked myself that. I'm still asking myself, why me? Can you answer that, Nick? I have no idea. Why me? But the reality of the situation is that it doesn't matter. And when I say that it doesn't matter, it's because if you think about leadership, I'm gonna give you a little bit of history on myself and how I became a leader at Microsoft, but I want to ask everybody in this room, true gentlemen, starting with that. What's it mean? One word. Give me one word. Yeah. One word. True? We got educated ones in here tonight. I love it. All right. One word. Leadership. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Actually, you hit it number 2. I didn't have to go around the room. That's great. Leadership. So a little bit about myself. I grew up Toledo, Ohio. Actually, Chad and I just met tonight. Unfortunately, I can't talk to him because he went to St. John's and I went to St. Francis, 2 competing high schools, but all from Toledo. I grew up with a single mom. I came to UC looking to go to school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. In fact, I wanted to be a dentist. That was my career path because they made a lot of money. That was the whole reason I wanted to be a dentist. A girl that I met in high school, she was here. I saw her walking on campus. She said, "Hey, are you going to go to Rush?" I said, "What's Rush? I don't know what Rush is." She said, "Oh, it's fraternities. You don't know anything about?" I'm like, "I have no idea what any of that is." She goes, "Just go through McMicken, go down the steps, and you'll see some houses. Go to the SAE house." I'm like, "All right, I'll go to the SAE house." So I walk down the steps. Music is blaring. I still remember this day like it was yesterday. It was the Eagles. They were blaring the Eagles music, playing football in the front yard and throwing a Frisbee. And I said, "That's pretty cool." So I walked across the street. I introduced myself, Mark Kenkel. I don't know many of you know who Mark Kenkel is. Cocky Kenkel, we called him at the time. I met Mark, was my first interaction with SAE. Okay, Mark then was a playboy. He was very, very friendly, came up, said hi, said, "Hey, here's the house, walk me around." And Jim Stutz was the other guy. I don't know, Jimmy, if you're out there, if you see this or you watch this. Another guy from Toledo, from Ottawa Hills. He said, "Hey, I'm from Toledo," instant click. So I joined SAE, again, a single mom, she paid for it, and I thought to myself, how can I pay her back? I'm going to school, so I got a job. And that job was a job. It was in a computer store. I knew about computers as a kid, but not much, but I learned a lot at the computer store that I was working to pay for my school and ultimately pay for SAE. But the thing that I got, as I got through life, I wanted to be a dentist. And it wasn't until I joined SAE that I really realized I didn't want to be a dentist. Okay? I didn't want to be in people's mouths 24 hours a day, right? That just wasn't something that I wanted to do. Secondly, I really thought, the money was good, but do I really want to go to school for that long? I wasn't really a scholar, you'd say, and this is why I say, why me? Why do you want me to keynote? I wasn't that scholar. I wasn't the 4.0 student. But I was motivated. And so what happened was I decided that I woke up one day after a party here. I had an 8 a.m. lab. I had to clean the lodge, as a pledge. I was actually sleeping on the couch. And I woke up and I'm like, all right, this is not for me. Being a dentist is not for me. So I decided that I'd go into computer science. Here I am today. So 26 years at Microsoft. I spent, a few years in Redmond. I was on the original Internet Explorer team. So any of you who use a browser, I was on the first team that created the browser. At Microsoft, we actually licensed some technology, and then we built it into Windows 95. And I've had a really, fun career in my day working at Microsoft. Interactions with Bill Gates. We were talking about that earlier. And I've been able to really accustom that back to the whole knowledge of leadership. So when I think about what SAE gave to me, it gave me a few things. One, it opened my eyes to the possibility of what I could do with my life. Through a random lab at 8 a.m. and a drunken stupor as a pledge. I realized that, there's better things in life, things that I want to do. I want to follow my passions, and I did that. So when I think about the true gentleman and I think about leadership, what is it? Where do you get it? Anybody? You're not just born with it. right? It's experiences. Everybody in this room can be a leader. You don't have to be the EA. You can be the guy who picks up the cups when he comes downstairs in the morning and nobody's around, and you start picking up cups. Okay, you can demonstrate leadership. Okay, and I learned that pretty quickly here at this place. Okay, I was a social chairman at the age of 19. I bought 60 kegs with house funds and a beer truck for Batty Murphy. And the drinking age was 21. So, again, you think about that just as an example. Stepping into a role that I really didn't know anything about, you get thrown into a position outside of your comfort zone, and you develop skills. You develop an experience. I worked with the leadership team, the executive team, and I figured out, okay, I need to do this role. I need to come up with a party plan. Worked with the actives to come up with what parties we thought would be good parties, and we were able to go and execute that. So when you think about leadership, it's not just being an EA, being a social chairman, again, as I mentioned. It's being involved, getting involved. So I got involved as a social chairman, and I worked my way up to be EA. I think I had 6 offices here, did IFC, Sigma, all that stuff. But the thing that I learned about this house and what those experiences gave me was little nuggets of leadership. As an EA, as an example, Chad, probably learned this. You have to manage your friends. You have to lead your friends. You don't think about that at the time. You don't think about leading your friends as an EA. You're like, okay, I'm now in charge, but now I got to worry about parties. I got to worry about people falling, or got to worry about people jumping on Christmas trees. I got to worry about a bunch of things, right? So as a leader, just as the EA as an example, being a leader, you develop these skills of managing people. So my first experience in managing people, and it carried on, was here at SAE. I had to, not only was I indirectly managing people as an associate social chairman, then social chairman, but I was actively involved working with people, getting feedback, and trying to figure things out. So leadership is developed over time. And the skills that I learned here at SAE, I learned, basically, and I'm employing them today. Running a billion-dollar business in data and analytics for Microsoft, there's a lot of things that you have to think about and a lot of things you have to do, right? And a lot of people you have to interact with and talk to. All of those skills come from being part of an organization like Sigma Alpha Epsilon. And so I'm gonna talk a little bit about some of the other experiences. Again, Chad asked me, tell me the wildest story, of being an undergrad. And I'm not gonna tell a story. Because I think maybe off the microphone, off video, maybe I'll do that. But there were a lot of stories. And those are the stories that you're going to take with you once you graduate from the university and move along in your life. And those stories also come back to leadership. Because everybody in this room has a responsibility to help your friend, help your brother along the ways. No matter if they're doing something smart or doing something stupid, it's all developing leadership skills. So again, looking at your life and looking at what you're doing today as an active member of Sigma Alpha Epsilon, think about how you can contribute, how you can build that little nugget of leadership, how you can make a new story that you can tell to the active chapters when you come back to Founders Day, right? And we have lots of stories, and I'm happy to talk to them after the fact. But I would definitely say that leadership is developed and it's earned over time. Now the other thing that I'll say is, I was telling, is it Chad, right? Matt, sorry, about a story about Steve Jobs. So a long time ago, Steve and Bill Gates and a few folks were trying to do a licensing deal. I was on a team managing business development for, we call it compression algorithms. It's basically your audio stuff that you play back today on your iPhone or through Spotify. All the music that you play back is done with the compression algorithm. Long story short, Apple wanted to license that plus our content protection. And I got to get engaged with the conversation between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs. And one of the things that I learned about that was actually something that was mirrored here at SAE. Okay, in that meeting, it was pretty contentious. There was conversations happening in email going back and forth that I won't disclose. But it was a very interesting conversation about the way it was managed and the way it was handled. And it actually takes me back to, and Mike doesn't know this, but Mike Stewart. Because Mike was, and the folks that were on DeVotie at the time, I was sitting on DeVotie, were part of the expansion project. And the way that this team handled that project with all of the stress with dealing with the zoning and dealing with the university who wanted to take half of our property, all of that was handled with class and with dignity and took the high road. And in this conversation between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, Bill took the high road. And Bill was like, look, this was at a time with the DOJ, there's a number of things going on. At the end of the day, we couldn't do what they wanted us to do. And so we ended up not doing a deal. And sometimes you, as a leader, you have to learn that you don't have to do that deal. And the skills that you learn here, i.e. the stuff that I learned on DeVotie, stuff that I learned as an active member, as a president, I realized quickly that I can employ them anywhere. And so I'll leave you with one little nugget, the brotherhood from a leadership perspective, is again, the true gentleman it's not just words. Those are words that have a meaning. And if you really read the meaning of those words, congeniality, being a leader is what comes out of that true gentleman. And that's one blessing that we have as an organization that no other fraternal organization has. And I trust that you'll carry that on and you'll continue that, that leadership with everything you do here. Whether it's picking up a cup, whether it's mopping a floor, or whether it's leading this place into the future. You all have a role in being a leader. And I look forward to seeing you guys someday on TV, on my phone, because it'll probably be my phone or on my watch. But I look forward to you being leaders in the future. And I just want to say thank you to that, and thanks to everybody for giving me an opportunity to speak.
All right, can you guys still hear me? Great. That jumping on a Christmas tree reference, I guess that he has seen you on his phone, as many of us have. That was... Anyway. All right, and then wrapping up the evening, we're going to welcome some members of the DeVotie Hall Association to the stage to introduce our very special guest of the night, Todd Degarmo. So Tom, Mike, Sturb, you want to come up to the stage as well? Thank you.
Well, it's been a great program. It's Mike and my honor to recognize my very dear friend and pledge brother, Todd Degarmo, who was initiated with me in 1975. It was just 6 months ago, this week, that Todd had a heart transplant at New York Presbyterian, and obviously is remarkable the recovery that he has taken on. I mean, the most important thing, Todd, is that you're here tonight, you're healthy, and it's a blessing. Todd majored in architecture, was very active in SE, was the EA, was a leader on campus, and involved in many activities. And Mike is going to give a little bit of the insight into the incredible impact Todd has had internationally in the world of architecture and interior design. Mike?
So Todd got his architecture degree here, and he graduated, went into the world of design. And in 1989, he joined a fledgling organization, architectural organization named Studios Architecture. And he has spent his career since then building that organization into really a worldwide leader in design. So in 2005, he became their first CEO of the company. They have offices in New York, Washington, D.C., San Francisco, L.A., Lyon, and Paris. The projects that they've done if you go onto their website and you look at their clients and their projects, it's just staggering the amount of influence they've had in the design world. Just a few of those most recognizable brands: Nike, Google, the New York Stock Exchange, Major League Baseball, the Department of Defense, the Pentagon. He's done projects there. So just tons of huge, very important projects. Really exciting stuff. They've been featured in various publications: the New York Times, Wired Magazine, Metropolis, Business Week, and Architectural Record. So just an incredible legacy that he has there. In 2007, he was inducted into the Interior Design Hall of Fame. And he is now the CEO Emeritus of Studios Architecture. He's still, got a strong desire and a lot of thirst for continuing to be involved in that. He's doing a great job there. He's also really used his experience to give back to all kinds of communities, companies, organizations, including the University of Cincinnati, including Sigma Alpha Epsilon, including our own Ohio Epsilon chapter. He's trustee of the Museum of the City of New York and the National Building Museum. He served on the UC Board of Trustees and helped raise $1 billion in the Proudly Cincinnati campaign. He headed up the Northeast there, and I think had $20 million of impact itself. So, UC has really a lot to thank him for. He also has has funded the largest endowed scholarship for the DAP program here at the University of Cincinnati for architecture and interior design, and that scholarship endowment is $1 million. So incredibly generous, incredibly gifted, and he's had just an unbelievable career. So last year, Tom and I nominated Todd for the University of Cincinnati's William Howard Taft Medal for a Notable Achievement. And Brother John Barrett wrote a letter of recommendation to support that. This is UC's top alumni award, and it has been given to the architect Michael Graves, Tony Trabert, and Oscar Robertson, athletes here at UC, our own brothers Carl and Craig Lindner, and the inventor of Benadryl. So these are some really incredible folks that he is in the company of. And so I'm thrilled to announce that this year Todd is the 2023 William Howard Taft Medal of Honor honoree. This is it's really incredible that all of the colleges have an honoree for the college, and then they have this is their top award. So we decided to go big or go home, and we're really excited about that. What it means is that he is going to be he and the other honorees are going to be honored during Alumni Week, April 17th to 23rd. There's also going to be a mural downtown that is painted every year with the honorees' likenesses there. So Todd and the rest of the honorees are going to be on a giant mural downtown for everybody to see. So that'll be exciting. We'll have to take a field trip down there and check it out. So we're really proud of Todd. I'm going to turn it over to Tom. He's got a few more things to say about him.
Besides Todd's obvious, incredible donations and support for the University of Cincinnati, it starts right here at Ohio Epsilon. He's been very, very generous with his time and his resources with this house. When we started the concept of doing the renovation in 2005 that culminated in having the project done in 2010, Todd was the person we turned to for, we've got this new addition that was built in the 50s. We want to expand above it. We want to have a courtyard that's secure. We had buildings in the back that we were going to tear down and put in a parking lot, but we needed someone to conceptualize the whole idea and allow us to move forward with the project, and it was Todd. We went down to the University of Kentucky. We visited different SAE houses around the country to try to get a feel for what was the needs that we had. And I think everyone can agree with me that the project turned out very nice. So we've been very blessed. So the other thing that we'd really like to do, I mean, this honor from the university is spectacular. But there's an honor that the SAE National is given by the Eminent Supreme Council. It's called the award, the highest effort award. And recently, Congressman Brad Wenstrup received it, and I am thrilled to announce that tonight that the National Fraternity has given the award to Todd Degarmo, and I want to read it to you. Brad, could you hand it up here? You want to read it?
Sure, I can. I can read. The highest effort award is awarded to Todd Degarmo this third day of March 2023 by the Greater Cincinnati Alumni Association in recognition of his achievements in the field of interior design. Todd Degarmo, you have had a tremendous impact in the world of business through your contributions in architecture and interior design. You joined Studios Architecture and helped turn it into an internationally renowned firm. You founded Studios' New York City office and became its first chief executive officer. You have received numerous awards and been featured in several premier publications. You were inducted into the Interior Design Magazine Hall of Fame. You received your Doctor of Fine Arts from Gettysburg College. You received the William Howard Taft Medal for notable achievement from the University of Cincinnati. You have always been a loyal supporter of Sigma Alpha Epsilon, especially your Ohio Epsilon chapter. You contributed to a substantial expansion of the historic James Gamble Nippert Memorial Lodge in Cincinnati. Signed by the Eminent Supreme Archon and the Eminent Supreme Recorder. Congratulations, Todd.
So I really feel like all I need to do is reinforce some other things that you've heard tonight. And, you know, when you get nominated for the William Howard Taft Medal, you have no idea. And, of course, you get a phone call and you assume it's about asking for money. And I think the same thing Chris was talking about, your first thought is why me, right? And when you're running an international business, your job is to imagine the future and get there faster than anyone else and rally the troops to do that. And it's so incredible to have a moment like this where you get to stop and pause and think about, you know, the world around you. And I think, again, it's so many of the same things. Chad, it was just incredible to hear about the success of the chapter. We were initiated in the year of the 50th anniversary of the house. So it's very reassuring to know the things that you believed in when you were 18 are still valid in a world that's changed radically. And I just want to reiterate the notion of the true gentleman as a template for life. To me, what it means is it means that you do the right thing. And I loved what Chris talked about. Our first client was Steve Jobs. And I've gotten to help him reimagine that world as it went from being a business product to a consumer product. And with Michael Bloomberg, when he was the mayor and transforming that organization into a national, international media business, and Rupert Murdoch when he bought the Wall Street Journal. And I think what Chris will reinforce is the reason that you get in the room in those situations is because you have a reputation for doing the right thing, that you don't come in with your own agenda. And that's an incredible part of being here in an undergraduate, and that same experience where you realize that suddenly when you make a decision, it impacts 100 other people. And you have to change your mindset from what makes sense to me to what makes sense for 100 people. And I'd have to say that's been a great template for life, and it is so incredible to hear those ideas reinforced. About a year ago, I felt my energy waning, and again, to run an international business, you have to multitask, and your brain's working in overtime all the time. And I found myself losing that ability. And it turned out that my heart was failing. And I was at Mayo and at New York Presbyterian, and they determined I needed a heart transplant. And there's only 1,000 hearts are transplanted a year in North America, and there's a panel of 60 people who determine whether or not you get to be one of those 1,000 people. And a third of it is, do you need the heart? And a third of it is, are you healthy enough to live through and prosper on this heart? And the third thing is, will you do something extraordinary with that heart? And so that's pretty intimidating, and to have a lot of different people step up to the plate and say that I had a track record of doing the right thing and I would keep doing that saved my life. So I can't tell you what an incredible legacy that is from here. And I have so many people to thank, and Tom and Mike for writing this, and of course I didn't know, and John Barrett for nominating me. And I had the privilege of working with John over the last couple years, and so I've worked with all these sort of startups and people changing the world. And when you work with John, you have to be able to think about the impact something has on 100 years of business. He's working with an incredible legacy. So it's not just of the moment, but how does that, how can you reinforce the fact that in the Depression, they did the right thing, they didn't lay off everybody, they gave free lunch, and they do that today. So there's so many lessons to learn from that. I think as we go into this 100th anniversary of the house, it's our time to pause and think about 100 years and the decisions that have been made that allow the success of today and what goes forward. And there's a lot of bad things out there about fraternities. And I think it's also a moment where we need to decide, do we take a stand on that? Do we invite people in? Do we share what happens in this room? Do we share that you're taught to do the right thing? And I think that we should give serious thought to that at this moment. We can remain insular, but the world is so hungry for leadership and being taught examples of what the right thing is. So I want to thank everyone, and this recognition is incredible. Nothing takes the place of the friendship that you develop here. So thank you.
All right, that is about it with the program. Congratulations, Todd. Congratulations to everybody who won awards tonight. One more congratulations before we wrap up. Tom Oetjen.
Yes, sir.
You win the bow tie. First to sign up. We may have another bow tie. Ryan Higgins will let me know if someone's deserving of it tonight for signing up a full team before the end of it. Wrapping up the evening, we always like to end with a fantastic song. You guys, if you don't remember all the lyrics, we've included the verse and the refrain this year. If you look on your tables, we'll finish with Friends. If everybody could stand up and sing together, it'd be a great end to the evening. To lead us off in Friends, I ask Brother Dan O'Donnell to lead us in Friends. He's going to come up here and start us off.
Neil, you don't realize in church they asked me to hum. All right, gentlemen. Friends, you and I will be, whether in fair or in dark, stormy weather.
To bring serenades back. That was pretty weak. But anyway, enjoy the night, everybody. Thank you for an awesome evening.